I request the dignitaries to please come on stage. Please take your seats. Professor Debasish Sanyal, Group Captain Vijay Kumar, Lakshmi Narayan, Vidya ma'am, please. And
She's come.
yes.
Extremely forward.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to our guests, professors, students, and members of the media. I am Haripriya from Great Lakes Institute of Management, and I will be your host for today. This is the second edition of Women at Work in collaboration with the MMA Center. Our first inaugural edition was the last year, and we are grateful to our partners, the Madras Management Association, our friends from the media, and to all of you here, as well as those watching online, for helping in making this event an annual property. Founded in 2004 by Padma Shri awardee Balavi Balachandran, Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai is one of India's premier BRI schools, known for academic rigor and industry relevance. With over 50 full-time faculty, 150 plus visiting faculty, including global scholars from leading international institutions and collaborations with top universities worldwide, Great Lakes benchmarks itself against the best. Accredited by prestigious AACSB USA, Association of MBAs UK, SACS, and the National Board of Accreditation, it has consistently been ranked among India's top private B schools, with a LEED Platinum rated 30-acre campus in Chennai, a second campus in Delhi NCR, and a strong alumni network of 15,000 plus professionals across 33 countries. Great Lakes continues to shape responsible leaders for a global future. We are gathered here today for a significant milestone, the release of two vital white papers focused on our theme, Women at Work and the Evolving Indian Workforce. We kindly request you to take your seats and switch your mobile phones to silent mode as we begin Women at Work, organized by Great Lakes Institute of Management and MMA. Before we officially begin, may I request the dignitaries on stage to kindly proceed to light the lamp, signifying an auspicious beginning to this very important event. Thank you. To officially kick off our program, I am honored to invite Professor Debasish Sanyal, Director of Great Lakes Institute of Management, to the podium to deliver the welcome address.
Dr. Debashis Sanyal is the director of Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai, bringing nearly 4 decades of leadership across India's leading business schools. A nationally recognized expert in international accreditations, Dr. Debashis has guided multiple institutions through AMBA and ACHAB milestones and previously led Great Lakes Gurgaon through major growth and research-driven expansion. Dr. Debashis is known for his strategic vision, academic rigor, and institution-building expertise with strong global orientation.
Hello. Hello. Okay. Okay. Very good morning to everyone. On behalf of Great Lakes Institute of Management and on my personal behalf, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to the members of the media who are covering this, the respected chief guest today, and all the dignitaries over here on the board, and all the members who have come over here. Distinguished guests, colleagues, and from academia, industry, representative of media, thank you for joining us this morning for the Unlocking Indians Women's Dividend, an event that we are proud to host with Madras Management Association ahead of International Women's Day 2026. I would like to extend a special welcome to Ms. Gangapriya Chakraverti, our chief guest, our panelists over here who have come over here, the speakers and guests who have taken time to be here. I also extend our sincere gratitude to Mr. Lakshminarayan and the Madras Management Association for co-hosting this event with us. The MMA has been a pillar of intellectual engagement in the city for decades. To be honest, this is just for me and for my institution. It is not just a Women's Day, but it is an occasion to express my sincere gratitude and regards to all women of the world and of India in particular who have built this country over the years, who contributed a lot towards building this nation. And I can say that without the contribution of women in the way they do it with a lot of sacrifices, India would not have become what it is today. Their resilience, their energy, their amount, their intellect, everything counts in what we are today. They have to work, I can share for in India at least, I can see they have to manage their home front as well as office and other important activities. So I really would like to thank all the women today on this occasion for their contribution. Please, a round of applause for all of you. This year's International Women's Day carries a theme that is, I think, both simple and profound. Give to gain. It's important. Give to gain. They do it. It is a call for generosity, for collaboration, for the understanding that when we invest in others, particularly in the potential of women, the returns come back to all of us. Many times more. In Indian context, this theme carries special urgency. We are a country of extraordinary ambition, poised to become the world's third largest economy. But that ambition can only be fulfilled if we unlock the dividend that lies in the talent, energy, and aspiration of Indian women. The question before us is not whether women can contribute. They already do. It's in ways that are often invisible and undervalued. The question is whether we, as institutions, as policymakers, as employers, and as a society, are willing to give opportunities, give infrastructure, give dignity, and so that we all gain. The story that the media will carry is very important for us, not only for us, but for the country as a whole. When you write about women employment, their contribution in a right way, it means lots to the policymakers. You help to change the terms of the national conversation. We are grateful for your attention and your engagement. This morning, we are pleased to release 2 research papers for the Center for Finance and Economic Research at Great Lakes, both of which speaks directly to the spirit of give to gain. The first, Young Adults Are at Work in India, examines the employment patterns of India's young women and men as they enter the workforce. The second paper, and that's a primary database, I know, the role of hostels in women employment. From various parts of the country, people come to Chennai or other big cities. It's a paper which highlights their struggle and their contribution. So both papers are based on research by a team led by Professor Vidya Mamre at our Center for Finance and Economic Research and researchers from NCAER. And I congratulate them on research that is both rigorous and deeply relevant. I hope today's discussion will challenge us, inform us, and inspire us to act. Thank you everyone once again for being here. I wish you a stimulating and productive morning. Thank you, MMA, to collaborate with us. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Professor Sanyal, for setting the tone for the day. I would now like to invite Mr. Lakshmi Narayan D, President of MMA and MD of Sundaram Home Finance Limited, to share his introductory remarks. Could we have the AV introduction, please?
Mr. Lakshminarayanan D is the President of MMA and Managing Director of Sundaram Home Finance Limited, with over 30 years of experience in financial services. Mr. Lakshminarayanan brings strong expertise in risk management, operations, and strategy, having held senior leadership roles at Sundaram AMC and GE Capital in India and Australia. Mr. Lakshminarayanan is a commerce graduate, a qualified cost accountant, and holds an MBA from LIBA, Chennai.
Thank you. Good morning, all of you. Distinguished Chief Guest, Ms. Gangapriya Chakraverti, India Site Head and Managing Director, Ford Motor Company, Dr. Debashish Sanyal, Professor Vidya Mahambre, Mr. Yash, esteemed speakers, delegates, guests, and partners. It is my distinct privilege as the President of the Madras Management Association to deliver these introductory remarks at this exclusive conclave, Unlocking India's Women Dividend, Accelerating the Journey from Education to Economic Empowerment, organized by GLIM in association with MMA. At the outset, sincere thanks to Ms. Gangapriya Chakraverti for graciously accepting our invitation to launch the white papers and deliver the inaugural address. Equally grateful to our speakers for sharing their profound insights on this vital theme. Special appreciation to Dr. Debashish Sanyal, Professor Vidya Mahambre for their expertise spotlights working women from Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, a powerhouse in India's economics ascent. for the benefit of our guests and those invitees from various organizations. It gives me immense pleasure in sharing that MMA, which was established in 1956, is now the largest management association in the country with over 8,000 members and across 12 chapters across Tamil Nadu and Puducherry. MMA has also been awarded the best management association in the country for 15 times in a row, including the latest year. India today stands at a critical juncture in its growth story. While we often speak about our demographic dividend, we must also recognize that a powerful and transformative component of it lies in the women dividend. Over the years, we've made some remarkable progress in expanding the access to education for girl, child, and women. Across universities, professional courses, emerging disciplines, women are excelling in large numbers. Yet, education alone does not constitute empowerment. The real challenge and opportunity, therefore, lies in ensuring a seamless transition from education to meaningful economic participation. Female labor force participation in the country continues to reflect a gap between potential and performance. Addressing this requires a systematic effort. Creating inclusive workplaces, ensuring equitable opportunities for growth, enabling reskilling in a digital economy, and building strong networks of mentorship and leadership. Unlocking the women dividend, therefore, requires more than just a policy shift. It demands coordinated action by the industry, academia, government, and the civil society. Through our Women Managers initiatives and leadership platforms, we've consistently sought to provide visibility, voice, and velocity to women professionals and entrepreneurs. Economic empowerment, therefore, is more than just jobs. It's about agency, leadership, financial independence, and the ability to influence decision-making in business, governance, government, and society. At MMA, we strongly believe that sustainable national progress must be inclusive. As a leading management association, we are committed to fostering dialogue, driving awareness, and supporting initiatives that strengthen women's leadership and participation in the economy. I'm very confident that today's discussion will generate actionable insights and collaborative solutions to accelerate this vital journey. I once again thank GLIM and MMA for joining together in hosting this unique conclave. Wishing you all a very great and enriching conclave. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lakshmi Narayan, for those insightful introductory remarks. Your perspective provides a vital industry context to our exploration today. We have now reached the centerpiece of our morning, the formal release and unveiling of two groundbreaking white papers. I would like to invite the authors of our first paper, Young Adults at Work in India, to the stage. Vidya Mahambare, Poonam Munjal, Palash Barua, Niharika Gautaman, Ayushi Mishra. I now request our dignitaries on stage to join the authors for the official unveiling. For all those in the audience and watching online, please refer to the agenda sheet shared by MMA. Scan the QR codes at the bottom to access the e-copies of both the papers. Joining them now, the authors of the second paper, Unlocking Women's Employment Through Safe Housing, which focuses on Tamil Nadu's Thozhi hostels. May I request the authors to make their way onto the stage? Vidya Mahambare, Pawan Kaipa, the CEO from Tamil Nadu Women's Working Hostel Corporation, Sharnya Ari, MD, Niharika Gautamam, Ramya R, Shweta Shri R. Okay. We are privileged to have our esteemed Professor of Economics and Union Bank Chair, Vidya Ma'am, with us today. I'd like to invite her to say a few words and walk us through the highlights of the two very important and relevant white papers that have some astounding research findings.
Professor Vidya Mahambare is the Union Bank Chair Professor of Economics at Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai, and a recognized researcher on employment, gender, and public policy in India. Professor Vidya is a joint winner of the Emergent Ventures Grant 2020 and 2022 and serves on the expert committee of the Tamil Nadu State Planning Commission on Employability and Skilling. Professor Vidya holds a doctorate in economics from Lancaster Management School, UK, and is a frequent commentator on economic issues in leading media and publications.
This, no?
Yes, this.
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everyone. Thank you to everyone who has come here. I have limited time, so I'll just directly go into what are the research findings. But before that, just one thing. Normally, when we talk about employment, most of the studies refer to 15 to 59 age group. But in both these papers, we have focused specifically only on young adults. So why do we focus on young adults? So that is age of 20 to 29. First, young adults in India are around 200 million, right? And if this cohort has to be considered a separate country, if we rank accordingly, it will be the 8th most populous nation in the world. So they are just very large in numbers. Second, 20 to 23-year-old entering the workforce today will stay in the job if they want to till 2060 or something, which seems very far away, right? So that many decades of working life, so they are the ones who will essentially push forward India. So we need to focus. Also, of course, they are the most educated cohort. Not in every country, next generation takes more and more higher education, but we have pushed education, as already the speaker said, along with men, women also in same numbers are in higher degrees. We see a lot of the women, young women who have come here and in education. Why this is especially important now? Because we know yesterday was different and we are living in the age of AI and every day and every month new things happening. So we need people who can innovate. And these are the young people who will be the engine of innovation, entrepreneurs and all that. And they are the ones who eventually will create a lot more jobs. So that's why we are focusing on this particular cohort of 20s. So how are they doing right now? If they get the right opportunities, they can contribute much more. What is happening currently and what should we do? So that's the focus essentially we have. Out of 200 million young people, around 94 million are currently employed. Okay, so that's just less than, I think Mr. Lakshminarayan mentioned that we have to make use of demographic dividend. So half of them are working. Out of those who are working, currently around only 19 million are in what we call institutional enterprises, which is corporations, corporate sector, government sector, and non-government organizations. And rest of them, close to 80%, are working in household enterprises. So that's good, but eventually household enterprises, most of them do not have social security, generally have low wages, low productivity. So our aim is essentially move a lot of them into the institutional sector, as well as get those who are not in the workforce currently, not working, into employment. Around 22 million young people are in education, including in the institutions such as ours. They work for a couple of years and then they come to do an MBA. So these people are the part of this 22 million. One way it is excellent because they get more skill and they are more ready, but also it delays entry into the job market. So we have to balance both of that when we look at this. But this is essentially the key. This is what we have to change as we move ahead, and we know all the challenges that we'll face on job creation. But we have to take this opportunity to get much more young people into jobs, essentially, mainly into the institutional employment. If we want to look at the state level variation within the employment, so this is how many people of this age group are employed currently. All India average is 46.7%. The state which leads currently among the leaders is Gujarat, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu is not that behind, but even these leading states, none of them have even 60%. Okay, so we have large number of young people who still needs a job. At the bottom end, we have UP and Bihar, of course, the states which contribute largest to the demographic dividend. So we need to see these numbers going up. Much more about this, why this is happening and what to do, of course, we'll discuss during the panel discussion. Right now, I'm just focusing on the key findings and not telling you the problems or the solutions, because that will follow in the panel discussion. As education increases, so this is education-wise, as education increases, the light blue bars are formal enterprises, which is, corporate sector, government sector. As education increases, you expect much more people will move in that sector, which has happened. So the last bars are essentially graduates and above, young people who hold graduate degree and above, many more, but there is a 50-50 split, or even there slightly higher in the household sector. So household enterprises, many of them, of course, will not be there by choice. Once you have a degree, you hope to move into a better employment. So this is what we need to get going. There is lot of talk also in the recent past about how much people work. One is how many, and then how much. Once they are in employment, how long do they work? How long are the work days? And this is only average, of course, but those who work, if you see, there is a divide between institutional employment, how much people work, and in the household enterprises. Clearly, if you see the very last bar, that is people working 9 hours and greater. By the way, this excludes so this data is based on time use survey, which India does, time use survey 2024. It is a unit level data, and it's quite a painstaking work by the team to, work out these numbers. This also excludes break. So, we think young people take a lot of breaks at the workplace, and then you may think it is included. No, this data excludes the people, what break they take, like lunch break and all that, because in that survey, they ask every half an hour what you do. So we know exactly what they do, during the day. So excluding that, but including commute, because commute, the time you still spend to reach to the workplace, right? So you see a lot more, around 37% of young people are working in formal enterprises, more than 9 hours. So it can be 9, 10, 11, so on and so forth. And, just about 1 in 4 in the institutional enterprise, in the household enterprises. But if you see at the other extreme, you see that there is an underemployment in household enterprises. And we know the reasons, right? And this will be mainly young women who are in household enterprises who work maybe part-time and, so on and so forth. There is a distinct divide essentially between how much people work or how long people work, how much work they have on a daily basis in terms of whether you are in institutional employment or you are in household employment. Now, of course, today we are also going to talk about gender divide, right? And so, because that's the backdrop for us. So, we need to look at how the men and women, situation is. So, within this age group of 20s, around 79% of men are employed. And compared to that, only 18.2% of women are employed. So, this is one of the largest gap in any country world over that is there in the employment. And we are not talking about like older people, right? These are only people in their 20s. Among women, which are the states which are able to employ a larger number of women in this age group? They are Telangana, all southern states, essentially Telangana, followed by Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, all that are in the range of 24 to 26. That still means 1 in 4 only. Okay, so we have a lot of demographic dividend among women who can contribute in the way of economic participation. I think our Professor Sanyal, our director, mentioned that, women normally do dual burden of work. They do double shift, especially if they are in employment. That is, they work. Men also work. But if you see the difference in the terms of how much, so first bar is time spent at work on an average. Second bar is time spent at work plus time spent in unpaid work, right? That is the household work and care work and so on, elderly care, child care. You see, men also do some work, unpaid work, but if you see, these are average numbers, okay? I'm sure there are very model, among you, men who are at the other extreme and equally help out at home, I'm sure. These pictures are always only average. That is what we can, what we can show. So on average basis, I don't think anyone will doubt that, women's burden is much more when you include the pair. So that is also part of the reason why many women eventually drop out, because it just becomes too much to do the double shift all the while. Okay, so this is what we find, how much is the difference. Now, one key thing we must understand, and one is known, that is if you see when, that is single and the married, there is a social norm that man must have a job before he gets married. So you see that the men employment increases among married, right? It moves from 68 to around 95%. So virtually all men are employed by the time they are married. Among women, it drops. It drops from 29.5 to 14.5. So that is sort of known. But what is a sort of surprising thing is that even among single young women, right? Not even 1 in 3, just about 3 in 7 are employed. And that is what means we know with marriage all the constraints that come. Okay, so that is different part. How to solve it, that is a different issue. But right now we are just focusing on that 29.5%, which is essentially only among single also, only 3 among 10 are employed. Okay, so what are the barriers for single women essentially to, find employment, to get into paid work? So we believe this is part of the reason, that is, by the way, this is just to show that men and women both are in equal numbers in higher education. These are the unemployment numbers among educated women, highly educated women, that is graduate plus. So they're taking education, but they don't find jobs, right? So one of the reasons we believe is that education has reached all corners of many states, right? Including all other districts, not only in Chennai, but other districts as well. As women get educated, similar to men, their aspirations increase. And they want to move beyond only manufacturing jobs or only factory jobs. Okay, so they want to move beyond textiles, leather and furniture, so on and so forth. They want to get into service sector. So service sector, most of the jobs are essentially in cities or in urban areas, but women are somewhere else, right? They are in, interior parts where there are different kind of jobs, which now are not suitable for them having taken degrees. So that is the locational mismatch. And if we can solve this, or at least start moving towards solving this locational mismatch, it will help a lot of single women essentially to take up job. Okay, so based on our findings of this first paper, we tried to look at how we can solve this locational mismatch. And one thing is, of course, what state of Tamil Nadu is currently doing since 2023, which is they have this, PPP model, whereby they run these hostels. There are many newly built hostels where these single women come, and I'll tell you, of course, a lot more about it. So as you see, there are, I think, at 19 locations, including 5 locations in Chennai. You see the number of beds, occupancy is very high. In Chennai hostel, it's near 100% occupancy. If you also see, one of the difference from is, if any representative of the manufacturing companies are there, I'm sure maybe in the panelists, the difference here is manufacturing companies have their own hostels. Right, so men who are migrants, they live in their own hostels, so all the workers are for that company. Here, one advantage is that these hostels have women which are working in diverse companies and in diverse roles. So we found women, even, engineers and, AI prompt engineers in the IT sector, in healthcare sector, so when we visited the hostel. One thing I just want to say, this study was possible only because Chennai Working Women's Hostel Corporation Management, so Mr. Pavan is there and Mr. Rathida Kumar is there. Without their help, we could not have done this independent study. So they just gave us the access that we could go and, please. We could go in, we visited 4 hostels out of 5 in Chennai. We could go any place in that hostel. We could take photos. We could talk to anyone. We ate in those messes. Two of the hostels we ate. So, and once the study was completed, please don't mind Mr. Pawan, when the study was completed, I just sent him the study and I sent it for printing. Right? So that means essentially to ensure that what we have found out, that is what is in the report. Okay. As you see, women here are not, are relatively income-wise because they are graduates, they are in decent jobs. So many women who we find in this online, first we did an online survey, that they are earning pretty decent. We also asked them why this hostel and why not some other hostels, right? There are other private hostels that you can go over this particular hostel. So the main reason which came out was because there is government sort of affiliation, the trust, safety and security is very good. When we went also, we saw that. And the parental approval, that becomes the key for single women to move from wherever they are, from their native place to the cities. These two prominently stood out, okay, for the women. This is the reason. Once we did an online survey, we also visited, as I said, this hostel. And we conducted 55 interviews, and we conducted interviews with the 4 managers, in-depth interviews, to understand how the hostels have changed their lives. Because one is just numbers, these are the average ratings and sort of a thing. Another thing is understand actually what happens, right? And we, of course, have one hostel manager here, Ashwini. So she will share her story when we come to the panel discussion. And what we found? We found that again and again women saying that we wanted to move, but of course there's a big barrier in terms of when we move, where we'll stay. So aspiration was there. They wanted to move either for education or to take up job. They came to know about hostel either when they were living in some other place or through word of mouth, and they move into this place. Once they move into this place, they found it is affordable, it is safe, it is secure. Hostel buildings are having visited, very clean, well-maintained. They have a social space where they can gather, study. Most of the hostels have study room. There is a creche. Currently not in use that much because not many, there are married women, but married women with child is currently not there. But that space can be used for something else. So it provides a living stability. Once that happens, then their behavior changes. In the sense they are much more confident. They want to stay in the employment longer. They also said we can push forward our marriage for a while at least because this, possibility is there that we can stay here. In the report, there is much more about what kind of, rooms and all that, whatever is there. You can see the photos also in that. So finally, that leads to empowerment. So it is a journey from employment to empowerment. It is a process. Right? And women are going through this process and eventually they are able to make, independent financial decisions. They are able to save for themselves. They are able to send money home. Confidence increases a lot. They come to know about other opportunities by speaking to women who are working in, other places, other companies. Okay, so there is a lot more networking that happens because women really need access for networking much more. Men naturally have that. So hostel provide that environment as well. So this is what we essentially found out. And in the survey that we had done online, it exactly matches. So if you ask women before and after, okay, research-wise, I cannot attribute this entire difference only to the hostels because, some of the impact of before and after is also because they're at the workplace and, several other factors come in. Nonetheless, that hostel is the main thing which could make it happen. Okay, so if you see all the parameters, whether in terms of decision-making, personal freedom, work productivity, career focus, there is an increase in the only one parameter in which they don't report significant change or slight decrease is in terms of physical health. And of course, we have some policy suggestions for that. But other than this, we found the impact of it to be very good. So having done the study, what are our policy recommendations perhaps? And we don't know exactly. I'm sure they already have things in mind and they're working out which we don't know. So it maybe some of the things they're already doing. First is just sustain. So these things are happening well. Governance is well, security is well. However, perhaps we will say that for the state government, officially recognize hostel as economic infrastructure. Okay, and not just residence kind of a thing. So that will give you much more thrust on that. Second, I know many more hostels are getting built. So, but increase the capacity with, fiscal sustainability. In one of the hostels, we found a company, one particular company having, taken up large number of beds. So similarly, maybe, bed leasing for the employer for the service sector occupations. And another thing which we found interestingly, only Chennai hostels itself have women from at least 12 other states. So it is not only for, women within Tamil Nadu, there are a lot of women from outside Tamil Nadu also using. So that means one can, of course, pitch for a lot more central state co-financing, which is currently happening, but to improve that. One of the main recommendations we have on the operational design, we found in a couple of hostels, students in large numbers, which is excellent, they are getting accommodation. But nonetheless, if there are women, because these are fully the 100% occupation nearly. If there are women who are working and on the waiting list, perhaps they should get the priority, and we should push the education institutions to improve their hostels so that the students can move in there. So that is one thing we have. Second, women are staying there for a long time, which is good, but nonetheless, as your income increases, you could afford a different place. So women who are coming in first time to Chennai and have relatively lesser incomes, perhaps we should find a way of how to get them into these hostels, and the women have already, career ladder gone up, they can move elsewhere. So maybe some income linked transition is that, we can think of. Other two things are smaller and I think pretty clear. In one room having both, long term and short term has some inconvenience, and perhaps dealing the AC from the unit. But these are really nitty-gritties which we can discuss with them later. And few things to improve the welfare means when we know that the physical health did not improve much. So, time to time, maybe some sort of medical camps. In one of the places, I think in Tambaram hostel, there is a gym. Maybe those can be introduced, outside gym, which can be introduced in many more places. There is a lot of, perhaps area there available where we can have job boards or, other, corporates coming and pitching, or some sort of skill training, or at least information dispatching about the jobs. Hostels can be used for that purpose as well, since the infrastructure is there and, space is there. So these are essentially our main findings from both the reports. And yeah, so if you have any other, we take questions now, or I don't know. But thank you very much for listening, and of course we are happy to talk more about this. Thank you. No, I think after this.
Thank you, Vidya ma'am. Your presentation was incredibly insightful. It really lays the groundwork for the panel discussion that will happen soon. Just a reminder, you can scan the QR codes at the bottom of your brochures to access the e-copies of both these papers. To take these findings from the research lab to the corporate boardroom, it is now my distinct privilege to introduce our chief guest, Ms. Gangapriya Chakraverti, India Site Head and Managing Director at Ford Motor Company. Can we have the AV introduction, please?
Ms. Gangapriya Chakraverti is the India Site Head and Managing Director of Ford Motor Company's Business Services Operations in Chennai, with over 2 decades of leadership experience in HR, organizational development, and strategy. Ms. Gangapriya is a certified diversity professional and associate certified coach, known for driving impactful initiatives in DIB, employee wellness, and modern workplace design. Ms. Gangapriya is committed to building inclusive, employee-centered environments aligned with organizational growth.
Distinguished guests on the dais, esteemed faculty members, respected members of the Madras Management Association, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, a very, very good morning to all of you. It is with immense gratitude and profound honor that I stand before you as the chief guest for this very unique conclave, jointly organized by the Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai, and the Madras Management Association. In connection with the International Women's Day, I extend my heartfelt thanks for this esteemed invitation. The theme that we gather to explore today, really about getting young people to work, and especially educated young people to work, is not just timely, but absolutely critical for India's sustainable growth and equitable future. In fact, it covers two of my most favorite constituents, demographic-wise, that is young people and women, and therefore it's very, very special to me. It resonates with my own conviction that the power of diversity, inclusion, and leadership, which I believe are not merely ethical imperatives, but strategic necessities for any thriving society or organization. India has made remarkable strides in education, particularly women's education. Indeed, as we see in the report where the highlights were just presented, India has achieved almost equal gender parity in higher education, with nearly 21 plus million women enrolled in 2022-23, matching men in enrollment. In fact, this is really a monumental achievement. However, despite this educational advancement, we face a very critical challenge. This gender equity, and I'll focus predominantly on women in the workforce, in higher education has not been mirrored in employment outcomes for Indian women. This is what I would call a leaky pipeline where educated women, particularly single women, as you saw in the presentation just before, are not transitioning into paid work at the rates that we expect and would like. Less than half of this group is currently in paid employment, and the unemployment rate amongst highly educated women is fairly significant in India, and with Tamil Nadu itself, it is about 20.14%. This clearly indicates a significant gap between education attainment and employment absorption. One of the significant yet often overlooked reasons for this disconnect is the locational mismatch. In fact, most of our jobs are created in urban centers, and as Professor Vidya mentioned, most of these educated women come from different parts of the state and country. And then there are, of course, constraints such as lack of safe, affordable housing units that limit the woman's ability to migrate and access those opportunities. While a high proportion of women migrate, less than 5% actually do so for employment. Actually, about 87% or a vast majority actually migrate because it is marriage related. This housing constraint limits women's ability to move independently for employment, especially with the growing service sector, which seems to be concentrated in metropolitan areas. Like we have already heard, this lack of employment absorption of educated workforce is really an untapped dividend and is a lost opportunity for a country such as ours. And if unlocked, promises to sort of take our economy, enrich our communities, and elevate our nation to great heights. In fact, it is particularly noteworthy that Tamil Nadu has a strong track record in fostering women's employment and providing an enabling investment climate. The state alone accounts for over 40% of the entire women workforce in India's manufacturing sector, and has a higher women's workforce participation rate than the national average. This progressive environment is further bolstered by policies and initiatives aimed at gender inclusion and social justice. In this context, the Thozhi hostels, and this is really strange. I've passed the hostel in Adyar so many times, and I've often wondered what really happens inside and, who does it serve. In fact, these Thozhi hostels represent yet another feather in the cap of Tamil Nadu's commitment to women's empowerment, acting as a crucial enabler for better representation and sustained success for women in the workplace. It is precisely this challenge that the Thozhi hostels in Tamil Nadu seek to address, and it is just one of the many initiatives that will bring more women into the workplace. We have just heard the compelling and valuable insights from the report and a very crucial research effort carried out in collaboration with the Tamil Nadu Working Women's Hostel Corporation, highlighting how these hostels function as vital labor market infrastructure for women. This study is not merely academic. Let me emphasize why such a study is profoundly important. It is a powerful testament to the tangible impact of supportive infrastructure on women's economic participation. This research moves us beyond anecdotal observations and assumptions. It provides concrete, data-driven evidence of the real-world mechanisms that empower women. By meticulously examining the Thozhi hostels, this study illuminates how supportive infrastructure directly translates into greater independence, enhanced career progression, and increased autonomy in women's life decisions. The study of Tamil Nadu's Thozhi hostels clearly demonstrates that these government-backed facilities for women are far more than just places to stay. They are essential infrastructure for the labor market. By offering affordable, secure, and officially recognized accommodation, these hostels actually empower educated women to move to cities, secure employment, and build lasting careers. The report outlines a powerful hostel-mediated empowerment pathway, which I think is a very nice coinage. It demonstrates how access to safe, affordable, and legitimate housing provides a structural support for women to achieve living stability and form routines, which in turn leads to employment persistence. This persistence then fosters independence, autonomy, confidence, ultimately culminating in career progression. These insights are valuable for understanding the critical role such enablers play in bridging the gap between women's educational achievements and their full economic potential. It provides a robust evidence base for policymakers and organizations committed to fostering an inclusive environment, inclusive economy. I want to take a moment to express my sincere appreciation and commendation to the dedicated team behind this comprehensive and insightful study. Professor Vidya Mambre, Aarti Srivastava, Niharika Gautaman, Ramya, and Shweta Shri, along with their collaborators in the Tamil Nadu Working Women's Hostel Corporation. Your meticulous research and commitment to understanding this critical issue has provided us with invaluable data and actionable recommendations that will undoubtedly shape future policy and practice. Thank you for your exceptional work. My commitment to diversity, inclusion, and women's leadership is rooted in both strategic foresight and deep people-centric values. I believe that true leadership involves recognizing and nurturing talent from all sections of society, creating environments where every individual can contribute their best. When women lead, they bring diverse perspectives, foster collaborative cultures, and often drive innovation and sustainable growth. Their economic environment is not a zero-sum game. It's a multiplier for national prosperity. The transformation we seek is not merely economic, it is societal. It requires collective action from governments, corporations, educational institutions, civil society, and just about every individual. Each one of us has a role to play in accelerating this journey. As we delve into the discussions over the next few hours, I urge you, the distinguished delegates, to engage in thoughtful dialogue, share innovative solutions, and commit to actionable strategies. Let us leverage the insights gained from these two pioneering reports and collectively work towards a future where every young person in India has the opportunity to achieve their full potential, contribute to the economy, and lead with confidence and conviction. Thank you and wish you all the very best.
I would like to now call upon stage to unveil the second paper, Unlocking Women's Employment Through Safe Housing. I welcome onto stage Sharanya Ari, the MD, and Pawan Kaipa, the CEO from Tamil Nadu Working Women's Hostel Corporation, Vidya Mahambare, Aarti Srivatsava, Niharika Gautaman, Shweta Shri R, and Ramya M. May I please request the dignitaries to join them on stage. Thank you, Ms. Chakraverti, for your time and your invaluable leadership perspective. Your address added immense depth to our understanding in the current Indian landscape. May I now request our Director, Dr. Sanyal, and Group Captain R. Vijay Kumar, Executive Director of MMA, to kindly felicitate our Chief Guest. I would now like to invite Group Captain R. Vijay Kumar to propose the vote of thanks.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am quite sure I'm there between you and the tea, and we are indeed privileged to host this event jointly with Great Lakes Institute of Management, and we are putting tremendous efforts. As far as MMA is concerned, this full week we are dedicated to the women. So we have every day the women's event at MMA from today onwards till 14th. 14th, our grand finale is our MMA event where we are doing an event on women leading with purpose, power and generosity. We have some outstanding leader you have woman fighter pilot, and also a person who has achieved great achievements in the area of 11-year-old prodigy, world chess champion from India. And a lot of people are going to come and speak because we want to showcase really the woman power. That's the reason the full week we dedicated to the women, and because we strongly believe they are the future of India. And coming to today's event, Unlocking India's Women Dividend, when Yash spoke to me and Vidya spoke to me, I said straight away, I said, we must do this because we strongly believe we have over large number of women members of MMA. Besides that, we also have 3,000 plus student members. I really see whenever we do a major event, we find it so difficult to accommodate women in Chennai. We have to request the hostel, which are almost 40-50 kilometers away from here. And people who work in and around our place in Chennai also, we have seen there's so much of issues. I think the right time this paper has come out. I'm quite sure the government represented by Saranya, so they will understand, and I think corporate and government coming together, this issue can be resolved very, very thing. Let me thank first Gangapriya. Gangapriya is not due to MMA. She's been part of our MMA team. Thank you, madam. I know you come all the way in spite of your such a busy commitment. You came to come and deliver some outstanding, thought-provoking inaugural session. Then we have Professor Dr. Sanyal. He has come from Great Lakes. He knows what it means to travel from here to Great Lakes now. It's quite a long drive. And Vidya, a very passionate person, put together all the things, been closely with thing. And thank you so much, Vidya, for joining us, and my president MMA for giving an open hand to do all these events with Great Lake Institute of Management. Yash and his team, you have great, it's really a privilege to collaborate with you. And large number of viewers watching this program live, and we'll again break for about 15-20 minutes, and immediately we'll start post thing. And I can assure you the panel is to be the top class for this event. You must listen to the panel. And thanks all the people who have joined us this morning, and thank you. It's indeed a pleasure to have you with us. And now I think we'll break for a tea. Now it's 11:15. I request you to come another 20 minutes back here. 11:35, 11:40, 11:35. It's okay. Thank you so much.
If anyone has lost a pair of specs, please collect it from me. Red color. Welcome back. Our final session explores the critical question: who earns, who cares, who migrates, and how policy can influence. Please welcome our moderator, Professor Aarti Srivatsava, faculty at Great Lakes Institute of Management, and our distinguished panelists, Ms. Sharanya Ari, IAS, and MD at Tamil Nadu Working Women's Hostel Corporation, Mr. Arul Prabhu, MD at Salcom Manufacturing, Mr. Mahesh V, Executive Director at NCR Ateliers, Professor Poonam Munjal, NCAER, and Ms. Ashwini Ravikumar, Manager at St. Thomas Mount Thozhi Hostel. Could we have the AV introduction, please?
Ms. Sharanya Ari, IS, is the Additional Director, Social Welfare and Women Empowerment Department, Government of Tamil Nadu, and ex officio Managing Director of Tamil Nadu Working Women's Hostels Corporation Limited. Ms. Sharanya works towards women's welfare, child protection, and social support initiatives, promoting inclusive development. Ms. Sharanya holds AB Tech in Information Technology from SRM University, Chennai, and earlier served as Deputy Commissioner, Education. Professor Poonam Munjal is a professor at the National Council of Applied Economic Research, New Delhi, specializing in macroeconomic analysis, tourism economics, and input-output modeling. Professor Poonam has led major research initiatives including the NCP Investment Index and tourism satellite accounts. Earlier, Professor Poonam held key research roles at PricewaterhouseCoopers and CRISIL Limited. Mr. Arul Prabhu is the Managing Director of Salcomp Manufacturing India Private Limited, a global leader in power supplies and chargers, supporting India's mobile phone manufacturing ecosystem. With over 25 years of leadership in the automotive and electronics sectors, Mr. Arul oversees large-scale operations across multiple factories and a workforce of over 10,000 employees. An IIM Bangalore alumnus and electronics engineer, Mr. Arul drives innovation and high-precision electronics manufacturing in India. Mr. Mahesh V is the Executive Director, Manufacturing Operations at NCR Atleos, Chennai, and Chairman of the MMA Chengalpattu chapter. Mr. Mahesh has led the transformation of the Chennai plant into a global manufacturing hub with over $350 million annual activity, driving operational excellence, quality, and innovation. A mechanical engineer with an MBA in operations and Six Sigma Black Belt, Mr. Mahesh is also actively involved in CSR and community development initiatives. Ms. Aswini Ravikumar is the manager of Toli Hostel, St. Thomas Mount, overseeing operations that provide safe and affordable accommodation for working women. Ms. Aswini ensures a secure, supportive, and professionally managed living environment with modern amenities for women professionals. Ms. Aswini work contributes to enhancing women's mobility and workforce participation in urban centers. Dr. Aarti Srivastav is Assistant Professor of Marketing at Great Lakes Institute of Management, Chennai, and holds a PhD in Marketing from IIM Udaipur. Dr. Aarti research focuses on stigma in marketing contexts, including well-being products, deviant consumption, and inclusion of persons with disabilities in business. Dr. Aarti has presented her work at leading international forums such as ACR, AMA, EMAC, and the Society for Consumer Psychology.
After the panel discussion, we will have some time to take a few questions. Please add them to the Mentimeter and they will be displayed on screen. I now request Professor Aarti to take them up once the discussion is complete. Aarti ma'am, the stage is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so first of all, thank you for being here. The topic of this panel discussion is who works, who migrates, who cares, and what policy can do. So, the whole idea of this panel discussion is to get some insights from people who are actually working in this area from different domains to share their views about the two things that we discussed today. One, participation of young adults in the labor force, and second, specifically participation of young women in the labor force, and how safe accommodations play a role in enabling women to be a part of the labor force more effectively. The first paper that Professor Vidya talked about today was in co-authorship with Professor Poonam Munjal. So I think I'll start the questions with Professor Munjal. So Professor Munjal, the first thing that we see in the paper that you guys have highlighted is that around 47% of, only 47% of young adults are employed. But those who are employed are really working long hours. What do you think explains this paradox of low absorption but really intense work hours for the young adults?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. I'll just take a minute to just, talk about the data source, although Vidya did talk about it. But, generally when we talk about labor force participation rates, we refer to periodic labor force surveys which are conducted by MOSPI. And those are the headline numbers for the employment rates and unemployment rates. But we have referred to time use survey, where the respondent is asked, whether or not, or actually what were the activities they were engaged in the last 24 hours. So that is from where we got their engagement in the paid work. And of course, we have restricted ourselves to the young adults category only. And the advantage of using this survey was also to see what is the extent or intensity of work that they are doing. So as you pointed out, 47% in workforce, but stretched, I feel, in certain sectors like formal enterprises and urban areas, and also among men, I would say, we have kind of normalized long working hours, overwork. If we look at, just men participation, the time that they spend on work, whether it is rural or urban, they are they overwork. And when it comes to formal enterprises, both men and women also, they spend 8, 9 hours or 10 hours. And if we include commute, of course, it is even more. So I think we have kind of normalized overwork in certain sections of work. And also, I think, there is definitely lack of skill, right people. So once you get the right people, they are the ones who will do all the work. So companies, I think, would rather pay more for more work that they get done from these people rather than hire more. In any case, there is supply constraint, but once you get somebody, pay them for whatever they are. But that also may not be happening in a lot of places because we have institutionalized such things. So I think those are the main reasons companies also benefit, and that's what I feel. Those are only my perspective. Of course, there is not the data that is talking about all of that, but that must be the main reasons.
Because you highlighted normalization of overwork, and you've talked, it is not just for men and women, but we see that there is quite a gap that you people have highlighted in the study, both in terms of formal versus informal workforce participation, and of course the gender participation in the workforce. We see that formal workforce is only 9.5%, while informal is 37.5%, and across both, women participation is just 18%.
Yeah.
So what are the primary barriers you think which is restraining women from entering workforce in general and formal workforce especially?
See, I think there are no dearth of barriers. Right from attaining education or right skills to get into the workforce to social norms, cultural norms, and then care responsibilities while you are at work. And of course, the data has already showed how a lot of people, a lot of women withdraw from work because they need to attend to domestic duties or whatever. Marriage takes you away from your workplace. Suppose you were working before marriage, after marriage you go to another place, then most of the women would, they are required to quit jobs and start hunting for more jobs. They would rather stay home. I think barriers, we can talk at length on the barriers. Social norms, of course, are the biggest barriers. And then, of course, when you move to another place, then safety, as the other paper also talked about how safe accommodation are so important. Not just accommodation, safe transport facilities, safe workplaces, safety at every place. That is what women really look for. So if we get some kind of enabling environment, both at work, good accommodation facilities while we commute from home to work, that itself will help in taking up the employment rates. I think girls or women would need some kind of enabling environment as well while they try themselves to educate themselves, get themselves skilled, etc. But they definitely need some kind of conducive environment, all the more because they have additional work to do at home. So I always advocate for work from home once in a while. Should not be a problem at all. That just makes place more conducive and, enables women to handle both the responsibilities.
Thank you. Actually, the last point that you talked about takes me to you, Masari, which is, if we look at labor force participation for women, it's just 18%. Tamil Nadu, fortunately, fares a bit better. 1 in 4 women are in the workforce, but still, again, we know not very good. As Professor Munjal highlighted, that constraint of safe accommodation is one of the reasons, or constraint of safety is one of the reasons why this happens. From a policy perspective, when government was thinking of reinventing the Thodi hostels, what was it that you were thinking about? What were the aims and objectives?
Good morning all. First of all, thanks for this opportunity where I can address such an amicable audience. So coming back to your question, first of all, as everybody is aware, the workforce participation of women is one of the highest in Tamil Nadu, almost clocking at 44% as against the national average of 41%. And even so in urban areas, which is much more than 33%, comparatively 25 to 30%. So it becomes the ultimate aim of the state government to facilitate and foster an environment where more women can come, stay, and retain the talent pool. So the first and foremost which comes to the fore is a safe and affordable housing. Urban housing is a challenge not just for women but also men who are migrating. So young people with work whose initial pay structure doesn't support that of the urban infrastructure which is available in metropolitan city. So focusing on from social welfare department, women and child focused. So we thought of providing a working women hostel. So this was started as an SPV in 2019 and then we became operational in 2020. The first few hostels were retrofitted and put in, and then slowly we started greenfield constructions. The non-negotiables, the key non-negotiables for us as an institution is safety and security, because most of the women traveling across this kind of a safe environment with a backing of government doesn't just provide a safety hub for them, but also their parents who chose to send them across. So it instills a confidence amongst the people as well. Second is the factor of accessibility. So if you see most of our hostels, it is there in the report as well, especially our hostel in Coimbatore, which is upcoming. It is just bang on the IT sector. The one in Taramani is also just near an IT sector. So we do a detailed feasibility study We also find out which is our catchment area, where do most of the women tend to flock around, and then we place our hostels such that it can be commercially viable as well as on a welfare orientation thing. Thirdly, if you talk about the affordability part, so a lot of people, when I was talking about this, they question why should a government entity come into this when there are a lot of private entities already who are offering these kind of housing. So if you see, if you ask around the people who are working in the middle and the lower middle category of women who are working, the average peg of a hostel room is around 8,000 to 10,000. But the amenities which are given is far lesser than what Thozhi can provide. So be it a recreational room, the space to move around. So the government norms presently provides around 50 square feet for each person. So we are providing up to 198, so which is almost more than double. So the free moving space for women, for them to not just be a hostel, but rather than come around, a place for them to network, learn from each other, grow from networking. So those kind of things goes into the design of Thozhi hostels, and also the amenities like be it gym or creche facility for women who in case come around with children at the age of 5 or so. Then we have laundry facilities, catering. So all these extra facilities, it is coming through the demand from the clientele. So according to their demands with the phase 1, and right now we are at phase 4. So slowly there is an incremental change based on their demand. So your study also speaks about tuning food requirements. So we are working on that. So these are incremental changes. And last but not the least, I would like to talk about the transparency part of it. So when it comes to government, there are always some inhibitions कि कोई पहले से book कर देगा, somebody will keep these booked, what if I don't get in? So from start to end, that is when you start booking a hostel and till you get in, the whole thing is made transparent without any human intervention. There's absolutely nobody. So you book, you make the payment also digital. So everything has been made seamless for women to get in without any kind of hurdle from the government. Not just confining to that, I'm going to enlarge your question and increase its scope, not just to housing. The second primary hurdle which as women face is caretaker. As they being the primary caretakers, what do we do next? So I just touch upon this, probably elaborate in the next question or so, where Tamil Nadu Housing Women's Working Hostel is also looking at providing paid creche model for women who are working, and also senior living. Yeah. So that's how we are looking at it.
Wow. Actually, I'd like to briefly share with us this whole journey from phase. Oh, okay. Could you please share the whole journey of from phase 1 to phase 4? That would be an interesting learning for all of us. That how did you actually adjust and accommodate to your clientele's demand?
So in phase 1, I am probably the 4th or the 5th MD who's in position. So there needs to be an incremental change. In phase 1, there were some, I am told 10 were operational, of which 6 were brownfield and 4 were greenfield. So the report also speaks about why there are more students than working women. We wanted to cater to all women to start with. So right now our clients are 1 year, 2 year, 3 years old. We can't ask them to check out immediately. So over a period of time we have refined that, and now in the newer hostels we are focusing on working women. That is one. Secondly, we started with the basic living conditions have improved. That is, some people wanted yoga training, some people wanted silambam. So we tried all that in few of our hostels based on the demands of the client. Thirdly, I would like to highlight most of the food that is related. There is no private catering. We have given it to a self-help group. So here also we bring in women empowerment. We want the women to work for women. So from Women Development Corporation, we have asked for enlisted self-help groups who can actually do a side. So we don't interfere with the food business until unless there is something where we need to come in. So in that way, we have slowly learned across what needs to be done as a service sector, and also with a commercial point of mind in mind. So that's how we have evolved.
It's actually very interesting, and I like how you have talked about it from a commission as well as you talking about yourself as a service sector. So when you're looking at an essential requirement as a service, it's an interesting turn of, it's an interesting perspective, a change of perspective to the current system. Which takes me to the next question to you, Mr. Prabhu. If we look at the industrial clusters like Chennai, like ma'am was earlier talking about, mostly hostels have been, especially in the manufacturing sector, hostels have been run by the companies themselves and they were mostly in-house. Now we were just looking at one of the Thozhi hostels and some of the some manufacturing companies have now bulk rented the rooms and leased the rooms in one of the Thozhi hostels. How do you look at that, and how do you think industry can look at advent of these kind of hostels?
So first of all, good morning.
The mic is not.
Hello. So thank you MMA, Great Lakes, Chennai for having this wonderful meeting where we connect the industry, academy, and also the students. And the topic where we are discussing is almost with our day-to-day activities, especially the manufacturing, where we employ around 80% of female employees with all the age group which we mentioned in the presentation. And most of the data is already in there in our data. I cannot question anything beyond the data because it's almost, I can say, it's 99.9% accuracy with that data. So with this, coming to your question, so EMS field is what we represent in manufacturing is the EMS field. We are competing with the likes of China and Taiwan, where they're doing for last 30 years or 40 years of the field. And electronics is a booming market in India, where we have for the last 10 decades. And we compare the China to India. China, the manufacturing value addition, or even we see the domestic value addition, is more than 30%. And even the GVA, the global value addition, they have more than 27% of the value addition in electronics happen in China. India is still at 0.7%. In spite of all those activities which have happened in the last 2 decades, even we can say that 96% of mobile phones which is consumed in India is manufactured in India. But in spite of that, our GVA is only 0.7 global. So the challenge here is when you have this huge manpower, it's a lab intensive thing. And the China, each factory have like 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 employees. In India, it's just now coming. So some already we have like 25,000 employees. So like Polar is there, like Hyderabad. So a lot of companies are coming. And people from the area where we have almost 2 lakh employees and around the female employees we are working on it. The challenge for the industry is when we come to that scale, we need to focus more on our core area where we have to bring the technology, where we have to ramp up, we have to deliver the products of high quality. We cannot focus much on the accommodation or transportation part. In that, so far, we didn't have that option. So even Salcom, we are working with the third party to have the dormitory where we can have a lot of people. But when this Thozhi came, this was really a surprise moment. Actually, I didn't know until 2 years because though I was part of this industry for almost 20 years, but I didn't know this was happening. That means the awareness was somewhere lacking. Maybe we were not aware about that. But it's really a wonderful maybe initiative from the government, especially when we see the Tamil Nadu government. It's very proactive government in especially women empowerment. Even in 2007, we had like 25,000 employees working in shifts in 2007. That was not happening in any other states. It's the first state where we had so much women employee working on that. That translates to now where we have 40% of women employees, percentage of factory employees is from Tamil Nadu. So this we need to even be proactive. I think Thozhi is really a proactive one in that. And this really helps us. Say when we need a flexibility or where we don't need a optical investment, because our investment more on infrastructure. So this when investment government is taking, and when the government name is there, people also feel more safer and secure thing. So that really helps. But for manufacturing to get more into Thozhi, I need the Thozhi, the locations which we need to choose more in our industry culture clusters, maybe like Kanjipuram, Sriperumbudur, Hosur, maybe we have prioritize more that kind of clusters. Second, when we have this kind of clusters, maybe we need to have even a bigger campus. Like I saw like only 1,800 people. So even when Salcom has like 8,000 employees, we are constantly have Dam where we have 6,000 employees. So 1,800 overall Tamil Nadu is very small, but it's a good start definitely. So when we go to the cluster, maybe we need to have a very big cluster. So it has one advantage. The transportation part can be minimized. That is also one challenge when people are moving from south to here or any state. They feel one is safe stay and also transportation. So transportation also can be managed with one. And when we have big clusters and we have huge campus, definitely the cost can come down. So still the cost now is like 2,500 to 4,000 from Chennai. But when you have more employees staying in the same house, same building, and all the shared cost, fixed over cost, the cost can come down. That will help even more employees to choose. This will be win-win situation for both industry and as well as for the government as well, and also for the entire ecosystem.
So, do you think that these safe accommodations, which are either built by the companies themselves or in collaboration with the government or other third parties, they're going to be a part of the infrastructure of the organizations instead of an extended support?
It can be both. Depends on the how we see. There is no one size fit for all. Say some big industries conglomerate, they won't prefer to have everything by one because that's how they can give more advantage. But some places like middle companies or these companies that are in the startup or in the small segment, definitely they feel they can be an enabler because they cannot invest on their own. They will definitely choose this kind of options. Because even when we have human employees, the challenge is the people coming in ships. Most of the landlords are not even accepting when they're coming in ships kind of thing, and the food habits also a bit changed. So those kind of challenges also we can mitigate it. And this will also give more confidence to the parents who are staying from the south. They will be very, very happy and we can be supportive on this. So I will, this is a right approach and we need to have a mix of these things as well.
Thank you. Now my next question is to you, sir. So, generally, when we look at companies and the top leadership policies, the efforts of retaining employees or especially women has been primarily concentrated on in-house policies. How can I make it easy within the organization? But as I can see the discussion progressing, a lot of retention reasons come from outside the organization. What are some of the barriers that you have seen for women in general, and how do you address them when safe accommodation becomes one of the important elements which has traditionally not been in control of the organizations themselves?
Thank you. I will try to focus as much as possible on the affordable and safe accommodation, but I have some more context to set. Coming to the background, looking at the bright side, we are in a much better placed position. India is doing well even amid all this turmoil going on. Tamil Nadu is the industrial hub for even for Asia, we can tell, and Tamil Nadu has got one of the largest women workforce here. So all these are positive, right? Now, we need to look at the other side. I will take myself as an example. I am representing a large manufacturing organization where 60 to 70% of our resources are between 21 to 26 years old. And out of that, 30 to 40% are women. Right. So, and we go to at least 40 to 45 colleges around Tamil Nadu, mostly tier 2 and tier 3 towns or cities, and even to Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, and Kerala. Right. And we select students who are either in the final year of their studies or transitioning from the third year of their engineering to final year. Okay. So that's the kind of population we have. Right. And while interviewing them, we ask them the same questions between the boys and the girls. Their expectations are totally different, right? Boys ask us, how much are we going to get paid? That's all, very simple, right? and that's all. Okay, so but when we talk to girls, they ask us how is going to be our environment, how safe it would be, will we be able to get, yes, of course, affordable housing, will we be able to progress well in our career, will we get some kind of counseling, and will we get some kind of mentoring and some kind of training support in improving our skills. Between boys and girls, I have seen that they are not detaching themselves from the factory when they come to work. They want to be part of the essential support system, supporting the family as well as doing work, balancing that compared to guys. It's a fact, right? And how do we give that balance? But girls, women in the urban cities, they are more confident because of the kind of exposure they get. But in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, unfortunately, that is not there, right? Even in this hall, if you see, there are a lot of vacant chairs here, but we can see many of the girls are sitting in the back, right? That's the same. Many of them, they are shy. Many of them, they don't want to come forward, right? How do we make them come forward, right? If we do that, it's a win-win. They are coming with a different mindset compared to the guys, and they have unique talents, and they bring a balance, right? I am here today not as a person who have accomplished something in solving these problems, right? But continuing my quest to solve these problems. So the questions they have asked is, of course, safe accommodation, but how do we find an environment conducive to pursue their skill development, improve their career opportunities while still maintaining their balance in their responsibilities. I know this cannot be solved with one just solution or something, and we cannot just expect the government to solve all these problems, right? So creating an environment, probably bring the same atmosphere here, right? Build a full ecosystem, not just accommodation, right? That would be the solution. This has to be a joint work between private, public, government partnerships, improving the policies, frameworks, everything. This is my perspective. I'm trying to talk today, and I've been taking notes while all these people were talking, and I've talked to Ashwini also. Her story itself is a very, very good example of what we have seen so far. I hope she narrates her story today, and we will hear to that.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, that gives us a lot of pointers for the next round of questions. But before we go ahead and start talking about the policy implications or how can policy solve some of these, let us actually hear first from Ashwini, who has lived this journey. So Ashwini, you joined when you entered the Thozhi Hostels, you entered as a resident, and today you work there as a manager.
Yes.
Can you share how did that journey unfold for you? If you're more comfortable with Tamil, you can switch to Tamil. I'll ask one of my co-panelists to translate it for the audience.
At first, I need to thank Vidya ma'am. She invited me here. She is the reason why I'm here.
It is our honor.
Thank you. And yes, I would like to talk in Tamil. I'm comfortable with that. I need to express my thoughts. So I'm comfortable with Tamil. Thank you for allowing me. என் பேர் அஸ்வினி ரவிக்குமார். நான் என்னுடைய ஊர் வந்து வேலூர்லேருந்து தான் நான் படித்து பிறந்து வளர்ந்தது எல்லாமே வேலூர். அண்ட் நான் வந்து எங்கள் வீட்டிலேருந்து கவர்மெண்ட் எக்ஸாமுக்கு ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ணி ஒரு கவர்மெண்ட் ஜாப் வாங்கிட்டு தான் வீட்டுக்கு வருவேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 2 இயர்ஸ் முன்னாடி நான் வீட்டிலேருந்து கிளம்புனேன். அதுக்கு முன்னாடி நான் சென்னையில் ஒர்க் பண்ணேன். மெடிக்கல் பில்லிங்கில் ஏஆர் காலராக ஒர்க் பண்ணேன். அப்போ நான் வந்து நிறைய ஹாஸ்டலில் ஸ்டே பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஆல்மோஸ்ட் 1 இயர் ஒர்க் பண்ணதில் சென்னையில் 4 to 5 ஹாஸ்டல் நான் ஸ்விட்ச் ஆகியிருக்கேன். அதுவும் எதனாலன்னா டியூ டு அன்ஹைஜீனிக் என்விரான்மெண்ட். எனக்கு அங்கே நல்ல ஒரு என்விரான்மெண்ட் இல்லை, நல்ல ஃபுட் ஃபெசிலிட்டி இல்லை, சேஃப்டி இல்லை, அண்ட் ரொம்ப காம்பேக்டான ரூம்ஸ். என்னால் அவ்வளோ ஷேர் பண்ணி எல்லாத்தையும் பேர் பண்ணி இருக்க முடியல. ஸோ கீப்பாக நான் சேஞ்ச் ஆகி 1 இயர்க்கு மேலே என்னால் வந்து என்னோடய கண்டினியூஸ் ஹெல்த் இஷ்யூஸை ஃபேஸ் பண்ணிவிட்டு என்னால் அப்கமிங் என்னோடய ஒர்க்கை என்னால் பார்க்க முடியல. ஸோ என் ஜாபை நான் குவிட் பண்ணிவிட்டு அகெயின் I came to my hometown. And நான் வீட்டுக்கு வந்ததுக்கப்புறம் I lost my father. ஸோ அதுக்கப்புறம் தான் நான் டிசைட் பண்ணேன், நான் இண்டிபெண்ட்டாக இருக்கணும், எனக்கு தேவையானதை எனக்கு நானே பார்த்துக்கணும். ஸோ அதுக்கு எனக்கு ஒரு ஜாப் வேணும் அப்படின்னு. அப்போது ஒரு பெர்மனெண்ட்டான ஜாப், கவர்மெண்ட் ஜாப். ஸோ கவர்மெண்ட் ஜாப்னாலே ஆல்மோஸ்ட் இருக்கிற எல்லாருக்குமே தெரியும், அவங்கவுங்க வீட்டில் அதுக்கான ரெஸ்பெக்டே ஒரு தனி லெவலாக இருக்கும். ஈவன் தோ நம்ம ஒரு பேசிக் ஒரு ஜூனியர் அசிஸ்டண்ட் எதுவாக வேணால் ஒர்க் பண்ணலாம். பட் கவர்மெண்ட் ஜாப் அப்படின்றது ஒரு பெரிய ப்ரைட், ஃபேமிலிக்கே ஒரு ப்ரைட். என் ஃபேமிலியில் இது வரைக்கும் என்னோட ஜென்ரேஷனில் யாரும் கவர்மெண்ட் ஜாபில் இல்லை. ஸோ நான் வாங்கணும் அப்படின்றது எனக்கு ஒரு எய்ம். அதை ஒரு கோலாக எடுத்துகிட்டு தான் நான் வீட்டில் இருந்து ஹாஸ்டலுக்கு வந்தேன். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நான் சேலம்க்கு ரீச் ஆனது எதுக்காகனா, என்னோட எக்ஸாம் ப்ரிப்பரேஷனுக்காக நான் சேலம்க்கு வந்தேன். அங்கே நான் வந்த டைமில் வந்து கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் போயிட்டு இருந்துச்சு, தோழி ஹாஸ்டலுடைய கன்ஸ்ட்ரக்ஷன் போயிட்டு இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ எனக்கு அப்போ அதை பற்றி அவ்வளோ அவேர் கிடையாது, அதை பற்றின இன்ட்ரொடக்ஷன் எனக்கு எதுவும் தெரியாது. ஸோ நான் ஒரு ப்ரைவேட் ஹாஸ்டலில் தான் போய் ஜாயின் பண்ணேன். 1 month தான் இருந்தேன். என்னால் சுத்தமாக சாப்பிட முடியல. ஈவன் படிக்கணுன்னாலுமே அதுக்கு ஒரு ஃபுட் சோர்ஸ் வேணும், நமக்கு எனர்ஜி இருந்தால் தான் அடுத்து நம்ம படிக்க முடியும். ஸோ அந்த டைம் பீரியடில் தான் வந்து தோழி ஹாஸ்டல் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணாங்க. அண்ட் நான் அங்கே போய் ஜாயின் பண்ணேன். அந்த டைம் பீரியடில் நான் எப்போ வீட்டிலேருந்து வந்தனோ அதுக்கப்புறம் எனக்கு ஃபினான்ஷியல் சப்போர்ட்டோ எதுவும் மென்டல் சப்போர்ட்டோ எதுவுமே எனக்கு யாரும் கிடையாது. ஸோ என்னுடைய அமௌண்ட், நான் அதுக்கு முன்னாடி ஏர்ன் பண்ண அமௌண்ட்டை சேவிங்ஸ் பண்ணியிருந்தேன். அந்த சேவிங்ஸ்லேருந்து எடுத்து தான் வந்து என்னோடய ஹாஸ்டல் ஃபீ அண்ட் என்னோடய ஃபுட் எல்லாத்தையுமே நான் பார்த்துட்டு வந்தேன். ஸோ தோழி ஹாஸ்டலை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் நான் டெனண்ட்டாக இருந்தப்போ என்னோடய எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ், எனக்கு ஹோம் சிக் வந்ததே கிடையாது. சீரியஸாக சொல்லணும்னா, நான் வந்து அங்கே ஒர்க் பண்ணுறேன் அப்படின்றதுக்காக கிடையாது. இங்கே நான் வந்து என்னோடய ஜென்யூன் ஃபீட்பேக் தான் கொடுக்குறேன். இங்கே நான் என்ன ஃபீட்பேக் கொடுத்தாலும் என்னை எதுவும் சொல்ல போகிறதில்ல. பட் இட்ஸ் ட்ரூலி எ ஜென்யூன் ஃபீட்பேக். ஹோம் சிக் ஏன் வந்ததில்லை அப்படின்னா, ஒரு பொங்கல் செலிப்ரேஷன், தீபாவளி, கிறிஸ்மஸ், நியூ இயர் எல்லாமே அந்த ஹாஸ்டலில் செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுவோம். ஈவன் நம்ம வீட்டுக்கு எப்போ போவோம், செலிப்ரேஷன்ஸ்க்கு, அக்கேஷன், ஹாலிடேஸ்க்கு போவோம், அது எல்லாமே ஹாஸ்டலே அங்கேயே நம்மளையே வந்து செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுன்னு கூப்பிடுறப்போ வி ஃபீல் வெரி ஹாப்பி. ஏன்னா இது வரைக்கும் நம்ம ஸ்கூல் படித்ததுலேருந்து இந்த செலிப்ரேஷன்ஸ்லாம் வெளியில் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸோடலாம் பண்ண மாட்டோம், வீட்டோடையே தான் எப்போவுமே ஃபேமிலியோடையே பண்ணிகிட்ருப்போம். அங்கே எல்லாரோடையும் சேர்ந்து, ஈவன் கிறிஸ்டியன், முஸ்லீம், ஹிந்து எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து எல்லா விஷயத்தையும் கற்றுக்கிட்டு அதை செலிப்ரேட் பண்ணுறப்போ ஹோம் சிக் எதுக்கு வரப்போகுது? எனக்கு ஹோம் சிக்கே வந்ததில்லை. ரொம்ப கம்ஃபர்ட்டாக இருப்பேன். அங்கே நான் இருந்தப்போயுமே ஹாஸ்டல் மேனேஜர்ஸ் இருந்தாங்க. எனக்கான க்ரீவன்ஸ் எது இருந்தாலும் நான் சொல்கிறப்ப அதை அட்ரஸ் பண்ணுவாங்க, எனக்கு உடனுக்குடனே சரி பண்ணி கொடுப்பாங்க. அண்ட் ரொம்ப சேஃப்டியான பிளேஸ். என்னை ஒருத்தர் பார்க்க வராங்க அப்படின்னா இட்ஸ் லைக் ஒரு விஐபியை எப்படி அவ்வளோ சீக்கிரம் போய் ரீச் பண்ண முடியாதோ அந்த மாதிரி. நீங்கள் அவங்க ஃபேமிலி, ஷோ யோர் ஆதார் கார்டு, நீங்கள் அவங்களுக்கு என்ன வேணும், உங்கள் மொபைல் நம்பர் கொடுங்க, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு எப்படி சொல்கிறதுனா, நான் சிம்பிள் வேர்ட், நான் டெனண்ட்டாக இருந்தப்போ தோழி ஹாஸ்டலுடைய டேட்ஸ் லிட்டில் பிரின்சஸ் மாதிரி ஃபீல் பண்ணேன். இப்போ ஆஸ் அ மேனேஜர் என் ஹாஸ்டலோட ஒரு மதராக ஃபீல் பண்ணுறேன். ஏன்னா அப்போது க்ரீவன்சஸ் வந்து எல்லாமே என்னுடைய பிரச்சனைகள் ஹாஸ்டல் மேனேஜர் கிட்ட சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தேன். பட் இப்போ நான் ஒரு ஹாஸ்டல் மேனேஜராக இருக்கிறப்போ என்னோட டெனன்ஸ் எல்லாரும் என்கிட்ட க்ரீவன்ஸஸ் சொல்லுவாங்க. என்னோட சுப்பீரியர்ஸை ரெப்ரசன்டேட்டிவ் பண்ணி நான் அந்த பொசிஷனில் அந்த ஹாஸ்டலில் இருக்கேன். அண்ட் எங்களுடைய ஹாஸ்டலுடைய டெய்லி ரொட்டீனை நான் பார்க்கணும். அந்த பில்டிங்க்கு உள்ளே நடக்கிற எல்லா விஷயத்துக்கும் நான் தான் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிள். ஸோ எனக்கு அந்த ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டி ரொம்ப இன்க்ரீஸ் ஆகிருக்கு. நவ் ஈவன் தோ ஐ எம் அ சிங்கிள் விமன், ஐ எம் நாட் மேரிட் இட், but I felt like it was a home. I have too much of responsibilities. So I always bother about other tenants' grievances. If she is okay, she is comfort, I'll always ask them. எனக்கு வந்து ஒரு ஃபேமிலி மெம்பர் எப்படி ஒரு மாதிரி டல்லாக இருந்தாங்கன்னா நமக்கு எப்படி ஃபீல் ஆகும், ஒரு ஃபேமிலி மெம்பருக்கு ஒரு மெடிக்கல் இல்னஸ் அப்படின்னா நாம் எப்படி போய் கேர் பண்ணுறோமோ, ஈவன் அங்கே நானுமே அப்படி தான். யூஸ்வலாக எல்லா டெனன்ட்ஸ், ஈவன் என்னோட ஹாஸ்டல் அட் ப்ரெசென்ட் ஐ எம் ஒர்க்கிங் இன் அ சென்ட் தாமஸ் மவுண்ட் லொக்கேஷன். 145 டெனன்ட்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. அந்த 145 டெனன்ட்ஸோட டீட்டெயில்ஸ், அவங்களோட பேர், அவங்களோட பிஹேவியர் கூட என்னால் சொல்ல முடியும். இவங்க இப்படி ஒரு டெனன்ட் ஆக்டிவாக இருக்காங்க, நம்ம டெய்லி இந்த டைமுக்கு அவங்கள இங்கே பார்ப்போம், அன்றைக்கி அவங்கள அவங்கள பார்க்கலன்னா நமக்கு தோணும் மேபி அவங்க இல்லையோ இல்லை அவங்களுக்கு ஏதாவது மெடிக்கல் இல்னஸோ என்னாச்சு அண்ட் ஒரு மாதிரி ஃபேமிலி பாண்டிங். ஸோ நல்லா இருக்கு. இது வெளியில் வேற எந்த ஹாஸ்டலில் இந்த மாதிரி ஃபேமிலி பாண்டிங் வரும்லாம் எனக்கு தெரியல. ஏன்னா நான் இருந்திருக்கேன் பர்சனலி. நான் வேளச்சேரி, தரமணி, ஈவன் சென்னை சிட்டியில் தான் நிறைய ஹாஸ்டலில் இருந்திருக்கேன். இப்போ நானே அந்த ஏரியாவுக்கு போகிறப்ப அட்மையர் பண்ணி யோசிப்பேன், ஒரு காலத்தில் இந்த ரோட்லலாம் நம்ம வந்து ஹாஸ்டல் தேடிட்டு இருந்தோம், நவ் ஐ அம் அ ஹாஸ்டல் மேனேஜர். ஸோ அந்த ஃபீலிங்ஸ் எனக்கு புரியுது. அதனால அதுதான் என்னோட டிஃப்ரென்ஸ். என்னை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் தோழி ஹாஸ்டல், எஸ்பெஷலி தோழி ஹாஸ்டல் எனக்கு ரொம்ப பிடிச்ச விஷயம். எங்கள் டெனன்ஸ் கிட்ட இருந்தும் இப்போ வரைக்கும் குட் ஃபீட்பேக்ஸ் தான் வந்துட்டுருக்கு. நாங்கள் இதுக்காக வந்து பெய்ட் மாடல்ஸ் எல்லாம் கொடுத்து வாங்க எங்கள் ஹாஸ்டலுக்காக எழுதி கொடுத்து ஸ்கிரிப்ட் கொடுத்து படிக்க சொல்லி அது எங்களுக்கு தேவையே படாது. எங்கள் டெனன்ஸ் போதும், தே ஆர் ரெடி டு ப்ரொவைட் அ குட் ரிவ்யூஸ். ஐ ஹோப் வித்யா மேம் யூ டுக் an interview of our tenants. I hope they'll give you good feedback. So that's it.
Thank you so much, Ashwini. While I'm proud that I understood most of it, I'll still request Mr. Mahesh to translate that for us.
Okay, so this is what we see in every woman whom we interview. A young woman who has got a dream. She's trying to pursue opportunities. She's looking for an ecosystem which will support and nourish those dreams. But those dreams are not for herself. It's not a selfish dream. It's a dream for her. It's a dream for her family. It's a dream for her community. She came here after some struggles. Now she is she found Tori Hostel. No, not only she got that ecosystem for herself. Now she is able to give back. Being a manager in that hostel, she is able to give back to the society, give support to other women who are pursuing their dreams. So she is feeling very proud. Now, for me, when we provide this kind of ecosystem for a woman, we are not changing her life alone. We are providing a change trajectory to her, for her family, for the community as well, and for the economy as well. This is the kind of change we need to see everywhere. That's her summary.
Thank you for that, sir. Ashwini, I have a follow-up question, because you've been a resident of the hostel and now you are on the other side. What are some of the primary challenges that you've seen for women who are migrating to new cities, both from your experience as well as from the experience of the residents?
Of course, as I said, the big challenge a woman who is stepping out from their home, she will feel she need a good safety shelter. At first, that's the important thing. Without arranging a proper shelter, even their families won't allow to go out. So wherever they go, whatever they may do, at the end of the day, they need a good shelter to stay. Without a comfortable place, she can't able to proceed further in her career as well as in her personal life also. So that's the biggest challenge a woman will face.
Thank you for that. That brings me to my next question to you, Professor. See, what we are seeing is one of the primary challenges that is coming for women's absorption in the labor force is safe accommodation. And we also see that there is a huge difference between different states in terms of women's young adults' participation in labor force in general, but especially in women's participation in the labor force. In those contexts, safe accommodations are an important factor which help interstate as well as rural to urban migration for women. Can you share your viewpoints about how do you see this balancing and how do you see options like these contributing to such migration?
Yeah. So interstate differences in labor force, I mean, the work participation rates, of course, are there. But if you see, deep into the data, you will see that the states which have high work participation rates are also the states where women participation rates is much higher, and same vice versa. The lower participation rates states have very low, less than 10% are the female participation rates in states like UP, Bihar. which is above 25-26% in the other states which have high participation rate. So of course that women participation rate is of course a big driver in the interstate comparison. But there are other economic structure of these states are also little more advanced. They have diversified into other sectors. In Gujarat, Maharashtra, Delhi, their manufacturing services, they have kind of diversified, whereas in the low participation states, they are still more into agriculture. So that explains the interstate differences. But as you say, the safe accommodation, of course, I mean, it's actually very heartening to see that, I mean, as a researcher, we have been looking into the low participation rates. Why is that so? And we have always researched into data and see maybe there are, lack of skill trainings, and now there should be more on the job training. Manufacturing sector should be providing some kind of skill training to bring in more, skilled and appropriate people into their system. But now that manufacturing sectors are also looking into the accommodation, facilities is very, very commendable. So that will definitely bring in more people, especially women, into the manufacturing sector. Actually, manufacturing sector, although it contributes, about 13-14% in GDP, and also not a very big contributor to employment, but definitely has a very high share of formal enterprises in manufacturing sector. So that is, I think, I would like to congratulate both of these here who are doing such, and of course the hostels. But urban-rural divide and male-female, obviously, there aren't enough. Demand. There aren't enough jobs to absorb the local people. There has to be some kind of migration from either rural to urban, one city to other city, and that is where, of course, accommodation and safety at transport systems, those become very, very important. So if we are talking today about the safety perspective, safety angle of the whole, the barriers which women face, that is really, I mean, that's really, really very, very heartening to note that, those are the challenges which, at least these are the systemic challenges which we are taking care of, which is good. I mean, the social norms, I think that will take very, very long time to tackle, but these are the issues that we are bringing on table and discussing about them and taking care of them. That is good. So that will, I think, help in bringing in more people from rural sector to urban sector, and women to travel, to migrate to places for work.
Thank you. Thank you so much for actually highlighting that it is also the women's participation in the labor force which increases young adults' participation in general. So we can see that in the state differences, the states which have higher participation rate have also higher women participation in the labor force. So that's actually a very important insight that we get from the paper. But that brings me to the next question to you, Ms. Ari, which is, so with women participation in the workforce being the most consequential driver of young adults' participation in general, how do you think different policy perspectives can contribute in increasing women's participation, not just from a housing perspective, but different policy perspectives?
Yeah, so as you see, now people are from the industry as well. So let us just talk about what are the hurdles first. So one is, as we all been talking about, safe housing. The second most hurdle which a woman faces is skilling. So a lot of people, especially the young adults who are coming into the industries from colleges into the industries as first timers, and women, matured women who take a break and then again re-enter into the industry. So for this, there is a separate department, TN Skill Development Department, which has been working on the Naan Mudalvan program. So presently the college goers, as we all know, the college degrees which is offered by most of our colleges have a divide on what is the requirement from the industry. So to bridge that requirement, the skill gap, so that is where Nan Mudalvan focuses on to make the college goers system ready. So basically job training and in-house apprenticeship which is given so that there is a smooth transition between an educational perspective to a work perspective. So that is one. Secondly, I would like to highlight the introduction of Vetri Nichayam. That is a new program which has been introduced by the state government. That is, these are online portals, online platform which gives you small reskilling certificates, reskilling courses, which are all free of cost. They are all on the new innovative models like AI and then generative AI, then you talk about image editing, whatever is the industrial, to make the people who re-enter into the system, especially the mothers who are taking a break and coming back. This kind of certification makes them not just instills the confidence, but also makes them job ready for that. So this is on the skilling part. Secondly, I would like to highlight on the next hurdle which usually we face as women is a safe working space. So the Social Welfare Department right now has been brought in strict SOPs on the POSH Act, which speaks about restrictive timings and also making the whole process confidential through an internal complaints committee with district collector on the helm of affairs, even to the districts. So any employer with 10 or more employees are supposed to have an internal complaints committee, and we also monitor the progress. Thirdly, I would like to highlight on the TN e-governance initiative. So this is where already there are some 1,500 registered hostels which run only in Chennai as far as my knowledge goes, but there are millions others who are unregistered. So to bring them into the ambit of formal registration, the Simple Gov portal has been introduced, where most of the certification is self-certification to ease the process of coming into the system. You can certify, you can self-certify, you can self-attest yourself, give all the information. And putting all this together, where does Tamil Nadu Working Women Hostel Corporation comes? So we set the bar high. We could be more as a vision, seen as an umbrella agency who brings in all these hostels across Tamil Nadu into the ambit. We set the ideals high. So this is a requirement. This is how the spaces are supposed to be designed for women. So we become an aggregator over a period of time. So that's how we envisage. Then I also had the opportunity to lead the Gender and Policy Lab, which was with Greater Chennai Corporation. It is still there. So there we focus on how to make public spaces inclusive of all genders, not just confining to women, children, but also transgenders and also senior citizens and differently abled. So the niche part of the society is rarely focused on differently abled and children. And just imagine you being a differently abled elderly woman who's trying to cross a road. So these are some kind of hurdles which probably many people who on the policy background cannot even imagine. So the Gender and Policy Lab again draws talent from the market, and we involve the citizens. The government also takes the initiative as employers. We can also have the low-bearing fruit, such as how do we make our public spaces inclusive. So we are working on that. We had the opportunity to publish 2 or 3 white papers on similar grounds when I was there as Deputy Commissioner previously. Not just that, other things as such, the industrial climate in Tamil Nadu itself portrays as something which has around 40% or more women in the manufacturing sector, more and more so in the electronic sector, like Foxconn and Tata Electronics coming in, and then in the non-leather sector, which is a boon. So I think the state has recognized the need where the demographic dividend needs to be immediately stepped in and corrected, and these are certain things. And last but not the least, I would like to highlight on the Anbu Kudil and Anbu Chole, which I previously mentioned. So through the TN Safe program right now, which is a World Bank funded program, so the government is looking at how do we make the early intervention program effective for women who are working, especially a paid creche model. This is other than the present Anganwadi system, which is catering to the all strata of the society. So the upper and the middle class strata of the society rather is little skeptical about leaving their child. in an Anganwadi. So how do we give a paid creche model as in tunes of Thozhi Hostels? So we are exploring that. It is on the pipeline. Probably in the near future we will have them. And similarly, the Anbud Cholai, which was recently brought in by the Social Welfare Department, more like a daycare facility for senior citizens. When we talk about the mature women re-entering into the system after having a baby, the second thing is, why do I go in when I have a senior citizen at home to take care of? So how do I leave my mother or my father in a place, or my mother-in-law or father in a place where it is secure for them to be taken care of, and also keeping in mind the mental and the physical health of the senior citizen themselves, where seclusion and isolation is the one which affects the senior citizen strata of the society. So these are certain things where the state government has proactively started taking steps, and I think in near future with all the collaborators like Great Lakes and others, we will stride forward.
Thank you so much. It's actually heartening to see that the state has actually looked an all-round perspective of women's participation in the workforce. With that regards, I have a question from the industry. From an industry perspective, when you already are saying that you have workforce so large, how do you think some of these factors, some of these perspectives can be taken into account by the industry? How can industry contribute?
Definitely, we are working with government on this kind of thing as well, especially on the reach facility. The SIPCOT, who is the common facilitator for us, they created a bridge in even our industry where most of the people can be using it. Even some of our employees also using it. But the challenge from the industry where we can contribute more towards is, so when we are hiring a people, once hiring is done, even the retention is also a bit challenging in the current scenario. Though we say that we have like 80% women employee, even if employee who join us first week, almost like 10% of people or 20% of people still leave. They feel that, say, almost like 10% people already working, they still feel they're isolated. They are not part of the company, or they are not part of the system. So that was the challenge initially we had. So what we are now doing is we are handputting the people. Say for every 10 people, we have collected one senior person who can guide them. So like how to get the bus, from where you have to get down, how to enter the factory, where is the canteen, where is the restroom. So all those many issues, salary issues, where we need to. So those kind of things, when we are handholding the employees, the people are staying long. So once they cross that 1 week or 2 weeks kind of thing, then they're staying long. So similar kind of things where we can work it. Initial challenges, whenever we had a challenge initially, especially in the accommodation or the transport or even the policies kind of thing, industry can co-work with both the employees as well as the government, because most of the employees will not be aware about this requirement. So we can work together and we can make it even a better things from the current scenario. And second, when you have the dorms, where people are coming from parents are different when they're coming from home, but coming alone, the challenge is until they get comfortable with their surrounding. So when we started hiring from a particular village first, people will not join because they feel that they are coming along from that village. But when I hire 2 or 3 people, then within next couple of months, I can able to get another 30 people from the same village. So that initial struggles will be having. So for that only we need to have this kind of awareness where we can promote the schemes, how the policies are supporting, how the industries are supporting, what are the schemes, even if there's a challenge, where they can approach. So those kind of things, we are also doing it. And from the dorms, another is when the people are working like 8 hours or 10 hours a day, but the rest 14 hours they are staying in the dorms or from home. They feel alone. So the mental thing is also influencing a lot, because when they stay idle or alone. So we need to encourage how they can protect it, whether they can tie up with some universities or we can give some kind of vocational training. So that also we are trying to do on the dorms, what we are going to do, so that they can also study, or remote study or like evening classes, and also we can do the job work as well. So that's what we are doing. We also have a lot of part-time courses. So we have some colleges coming weekend to our factory where they can do a course. The people are coming from 10th or 12th, and people who already have diploma, we are also doing engineering courses as well, so that they also have a job opportunity outside. And also when everyone is in the system, they can get into the lot of networks as well. So even whenever there's opportunity outside, what are the returns outside, they feel more strengthened or secure. So even after break, whenever they have break due to marriage or things, or even they move to other natives, this networks, this helps them. Even tomorrow we also launching a occasional training where we can do a makeup course. So almost like 100 people already joined, because there's also a lot of IT people to join. So some people who did last year, they're doing as a part-time as well. So apart from that, they also have their own beauty parlor. And since we have like 8,000 people, they also have customers inside. So they feel very secure and safe. So this kind of things, multi-approach can do, and government is also working. This also good, but still we have to take to larger scale.
Very, very interesting model, actually. Very, very interesting model. Coming back to safe accommodation, just a follow-up question to that. I see there's a lot of similarity between what the government is doing and what the industry is doing, and two other ends. So do you see public-private partnership as a way forward for this? Do you think organizations should now start investing in different ways in the government interventions?
Definitely, that is really need of the power, public partnership. And whenever we meet a government official, one of the suggestions what we give from the industry is always, from industrial housing, we need to move to industrial city. So it's not only, because if you see, in even South, almost 42% are married women, and they have kids and family, they cannot have dorms. But the people who are staying on the remote part, when they're staying after marriage, they're leaving the jobs. So what can help is we have to create industrial city where they have everything together. Say where the industry accommodations will be there, hospitals will be there, schools will be there, even the kids facility will be there, and also industries nearby. This is already happening in China. This is also now happening in India. In few states it is happening. And India state is, Tamil Nadu is already grown much. So what we are currently doing is, we are selecting some of the industry partners, which is already there, and we are working with the government for support. So something is coming from Sri Perumbudur. And Hosur will be one of the, we can compare Hosur in next 10 years with China, any of the China cities. So that is also happening. That's coming really from the government support.
Wow. That's great to know. I think I have one more aspect from the industry perspective that I would want your views on, which is we see a lot of industries and companies now integrating ESG and sustainability frameworks into their policy. Do you think safe accommodation and access to dignified housing becoming a part of that conversation?
Definitely. So, for the time being, let us focus on S and G rather than the E.
Okay.
So that is more on the environment. Okay. So, the society governance, those kind of responsibilities. When we focus on these aspects, particularly considering the women workforce. As I told earlier, their expectations are totally different from the men, and they still have that empathizing mindset more stronger compared to the men, and of course because of that they might be able to balance more towards their family, all those things. Now, considering that mindset, we have tried to implement several steps apart from just providing safer transport, a place to stay and all. Being in Mahindravel city, it's not easy because that part of the area is becoming costly day by day, and we are finding it difficult to get affordable accommodation for especially ladies. If we have to find out, we have to go a bit far, and probably these kind of schemes will and partnerships will help us in that aspect. My quest further is, can we leverage on the existing policies and frameworks to be enhanced further in this area? Probably bring CSR extensions into this kind of area, hostel like support facilities. Can they be added there? Can they be included there? That will help to get more pool of funding, and it will be a win-win situation. Number one. Number two, today's work culture. Okay, manufacturing is a different breed, but today's work culture is bringing more flexibility, right? Hybrid work culture, but along with that, some other challenges come. The timings could be different. All those things happen, right? So in hostels, rather than just stay and safer environment, food, all those things. Probably we should also try to see if we can get co-working spaces included, right, for just taking calls or conferences. They don't have to come to the facility, they can take from there, right? And young women, when they start their career, it is okay, they just need a place to stay. But later, when they get married, then kids come, that brings altogether different challenge. When husband is in another place, the women are in another place, they have to take care of the kids. Are these hostels going to support these kind of things? How do we bring that ecosystem there? These are probably thoughts we have to keep in mind for future. So the S and G has to keep these kind of things in mind. We have to always keep in mind that when we consider these workforce or this potential talent, just answering one question will not solve. We have to think this of as a what you call quest for solving the entire ecosystem, bringing that into place, keeping all those aspects in mind.
Actually, it's interesting that when we were visiting some of the Thozhi hostels, we saw a lot of these things that you're just highlighting being already integrated. I think Ashwini will be able to answer that. So there are a lot of common working spaces, some crutches and all that. So can you highlight a bit of that? And also, what are the primary learnings that you think can be replicated from Thozhi hostels for other stakeholders who are trying to replicate such models?
Okay. In our Thozhi hostel, we are having a separate study room, TV room, and we have a crèche for our babies. And in some of our branches, we are having an open gym. And upcoming days, we plan to provide a library facility also. And we have some gardening space. And tenants have access to all these facilities now I mentioned. So like that, in upcoming industrial buildings can also use these facilities in their projects. So that will be helpful for the residents. So that's the thing I feel.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ashwini. Okay, so I think we've started getting the questions from the audience. That indicates that we are now short of time. So in the interest of time, I'd quickly just request you all to quickly talk about how can institutionalized spaces like these be replicated at places where we don't have access to them, and at places where the labor participation is very low, right? So when they're migrating, how can we increase that? That's it. And then we'll start with the questions.
No, I answer this question.
I'll ask the question. If you could just share a quick perspective.
Okay, so I take this August gathering to announce that we have grown by 6 more hostels, because right now it was 19 and now we have 25. So, and there are 22 more on the pipeline. So by the end of next year, probably we'll be having 47. And then we are actively looking for more spaces. I think the greatest constraint as a corporation, though we are affiliated with the government, is finding land, and that too at a premium in metropolitan city. So that we have been actively pursuing. So how do we increase our capacity? Right now we are at probably 2,300 beds. So that is like 2,300 women who are benefited. But to the tune of the demand and the supply, it is, as he rightly pointed out, we are inadequate. So that is when we are exploring few models on increasing our beds. One is, already there are a lot of existing facilities with the government. So there are ITI hostels which are under the labor department. There are nursing hostels with the health department. So we are looking at how do we utilize these underutilized facilities and house more working women under the ambit of Tori. That is one. And secondly, as rightly pointed out, we wanted to be primary aggregators. How do we bring in private players into the ambit? Because as government, you can't be always putting up new facilities and asking women to come in. So there are existing private facilities who are running these kind of service-based. So how do we aggregate them? That is where we have an idea. Right now it is in the initial phase where we wanted to be a platform provider, more like a OYO. So we might be taking in private facilities who can come in with the ambit, give that kind of, we will have probably set benchmarks as in what the state government requires them to do, and we will also be tampering at the rates. So not exorbitant, but something optimal for the women to come in and also commercially viable for them. The branding of Tori over a period of time will give a lot of credibility to the private aggregators to come in. So that is the plan. And thirdly, we are also looking at MSMEs, because as rightly pointed out, they may not have the scale to house their women. So in one of our hostels in Hosur, we have tied up with a manufacturing unit where almost 150 of beds are given to them, to that MSME. So who will be housing their blue-collared women there? Similarly, we have also tied up with another private agency, private MSME in Vellore for a footwear agency. So we are exploring how do we bring in a lot more women into the ambit. Of course, also looking at greenfield. So.
Thank you. I think you already answered that question to a large extent, which was with increasing urban migration, how do you actually bring in urban planning and to integrate women accommodation? So if you have any more points on that.
So these are few ways what we have thought about increasing our ambit. Not just that, as rightly pointed out, SIPCOT is also working on similar projects. Like in Tirupur, which is an industrial hub. So for textile industries, we have around 1,500 bedded hostel, which is out for market to pick it up. So we are going for open tenders. We are not just confining to individuals who can fill it. We are going for open tenders. We are open for more industries to come and pick up this. We are also looking at some industrial clusters like that, but that doesn't come under our ambit. That comes under SIPCOT, who's been actively pursuing, like in Tiruvannamalai. Most of the women who work there come from Cheyar. So they are planning to put in a lot more unit, probably 1,500, 2,000, a large scale facility for women to come, stay and also utilize. That's how.
Thank you. Ashwini, the next question is for you. So beyond accommodation, what forms of support systems within hostels help women build confidence and independence in a new city? So not just accommodation, what other things are there which help women to build confidence?
Other things like they can make a facility for a counseling, because women will get a stress from their office. So we can provide them some counseling like that, and we can give some employment related of news, like there is a fair, work fair like that. Job fairs are happening in so many government sectors that we can arrange occasionally in a hostel. So the women who stepped out from their home to get a job, or they are looking for a job, that will be helpful for them. So we can provide those facilities.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashwini, for that answer. Professor Poonam, the next question is for you. So internationally, what policy or institutional models have successfully supported women's migration for work, and what lessons could India adapt from them? If you could share some insights.
Yeah, I think I feel internationally there are challenges for women getting into workforce, and all of these challenges are I suppose they would be common to other countries as well. But while I was listening to the conversation and what everybody was talking about, I was just thinking that how women are not just expected to be more responsible for childcare and social care. They are also they themselves feel more responsible. But at the same time, there are instances where companies are also averse to hiring women because they are, suppose, soon getting married or soon going to have children. So, given such instances and circumstances, it is really, really very, very heartening to note that safe accommodations are being talked about. So, I think that is so. I would say. Internationally, the challenges would be similar, and yes, relocation and safe accommodation are going to be of great. And in fact, I was talking to Mr. Mahesh at the tea time, and I was talking to him. Why is it that they are investing so much in women employment? A huge proportion of their employees are women, and he tells me that they bring more interesting perspectives. And there are research papers which highlight that women bring in more, work ethics and, of course, multitasking, stuff like that. So definitely through such initiatives, we should definitely help them come into the labor force much more than earlier.
Thank you, Professor. Mr. Arul, next question is for you, which is how can companies create more supportive ecosystems for first-time migrants, people who are working for the first time? So, of course, they are more hesitant. So,
Especially from EMS point of view, the electronics manufacturing point of view, there are many things which we have done in the last decade. One with the government support and also with the industry associations. Say example, for the EMS, almost 80% of employees who here are the freshers. But there is a gap between the expectation from the industry versus the academy. So there are huge gap, especially electronics, since it's a very sunrise industry. There's so much experience in India, and also even the academics is not updated to that. So what we do is we work with most of the colleges where we have tie up with the colleges, give what's our requirement, what are the skills which we need to have them on so that quickly they can ramp up. So we work with the governments, education universities. So some criteria like what are things which we need for a first time to industry, what are the specifics for an electronics industry. That is going well. We work with a lot of syllabus we have created. We have some MOEs colleges as well. And also from the industry point of view, the government is also giving a lot of supports for the first timers. We have NAT scheme, NAP scheme, and also the fixed term employment, where the government is also sponsoring some of the cost. So that also incentives a lot of our the industries hire people from freshers so that we can hire them, can also train them, and we can use them to the next level of managers. So that scheme is also doing well. And even a lot of things we are also discussing the government to how to do the internships even more so that people do internships, so we can also hire them after the internships. So IIT Madras is doing a good job on that, and we are also working with some universities. So once everything is and people also feel that electronics manufacturing is also their growth opportunity. Just not many people knows what the because everyone knows it's only with IT. Almost people who are coming from B, especially the engineering graduates, they are always IT. But manufacturing is also the option. So at least now, last 10 years, people are looking, especially the lot of option coming from ECs for electrical engineering, mechanical, and a lot of semiconductors also coming. We need to observe a lot of electronics engineering because if we hire Assam, Gujarat, they need more than like 1.3 million people. Even if you consider 20% of engineers, we need how much engineers need for India next 5 years. So there are a lot of opportunity. This is the time. This decade is for manufacturing, especially electronics manufacturing. So we don't need any doubt about first time job for any of the new employees. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah. So this is the last question, and this is for you, sir. What role can industry networks and business associations play in advocating for infrastructure that enables women's workforce participation?
Considering the time, I will try to answer in one line. Instead of focusing on work from home, create home at work. That will mean a lot.
I think that's a very apt concluding remark. But if you guys have any concluding remarks that you want to make, I'm more welcome. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the panelists.
That was a fascinating discussion among our panelists. May I please request Dr. Sanyal, Captain Vijay Kumar, and Professor Vidya to come on stage and kindly felicitate the panelists.
Step forward. Yes, yes, yes. Please come in. Come, madam. Book of articles. What I have to say on the information. Again. Yeah, yes. Come. Come again. Okay. Catch it. Okay, yeah, I think it's me, your room. I'm going to. Yeah. With the picture, we'll take a picture. They all want to take a picture again. Now, what is it? He's giving closing remark?
No, I don't know.
Let's go. Go for that.
Thank you. Today's event represents a vital dialogue between research and reality. By studying the landscape of women at work, we are looking at the future of the Indian economy and the importance of representation in every boardroom. First and foremost, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to our chief guest, Ms. Gangapriya Chakraverti. Thank you, ma'am, for stepping out of the boardroom to share your invaluable leadership expertise. You have given us a roadmap on how these research findings can translate into corporate action. Our sincere thanks to Vidya ma'am and the other authors. Your dedication to these two research papers provides the foundation we need to drive change. Thank you for sharing the why behind the numbers. To our distinguished panelists, thank you for a dynamic, meaningful, and thought-provoking discussion. Your diverse insights brought the research to life and sparked a conversation that will continue long after we leave this room. A special note of appreciation goes to the joint teams from Great Lakes Institute of Management and Madras Management Association. Curating events of this scale requires immense vision and coordination. Thank you for providing the platform for such a thoughtful exchange. A huge thanks to all members of the media. Finally, to our audience here in person and to those joining us virtually. Thank you for your time and your engaging questions during the Q&A. Your participation is what turns a presentation into a movement. I wish you all a wonderful afternoon ahead. Thank you for joining us. Please join us for lunch and networking to continue these important conversations. Thank you. Please rise for the national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे